When we were looking at our 25th anniversary, it seemed to us an opportunity to look forward and look at the future of practice. So we've been debating that, I think, and this is an opportunity to review almost the future of practice. Where are we going to be in years to come?
Oh, hello there. We are genuinely quite a nice, warm, friendly bunch. They're very deeply serious about the work, but they also play very hard.
Everyone who works in this office seems to be from different backgrounds, have gone to different universities, have had different experiences, and we're allowed to be quite autonomous when we design, and so it's a melting pot of various different ideas and experiences. So it's a very collaborative experience when we come to designing buildings.
Aaron Betsky, he came round a number of our buildings, and he sees them very visually, almost like abstract art, whereas we're always talking about the activities, and what's important to us is the sort of activities in the building, but he was more interested in just the shapes and trying to categorise them in some way. So he came up with this thing. He says, you put a lot of jam in your donut. It's a whole sort of richness, both visually, but I mean, we always talk about it in organisational terms, in social terms, about the people in the building and about different activities.
What we like to do is make buildings fun and have an inherent character and personality about them that transcend what their original use or intention might have been.
As our world becomes more and more digitally orientated, we're craving a much more social environment to practice in and to think about setting our architecture in.
And what I see happening more and more is emphasis on how a building functions, how it performs for its users. And I think that emphasis on the social side of the building, valuing the social, putting the building users first, is critical and has evolved into an approach.
We very much want to be hands-on, and we believe that architecture really isn't architecture until it's inhabited.
When you're talking to a complicated user client, you have to understand that you need to talk to different people about different things at different times during the project. So we'll often find ourselves talking to the chief executive or the vice chancellor of the university or the director of estates, but at the same time we're having conversations with the people who are going to be cleaning the building and the caretakers, and obviously in between that, often the academics or the departments within a business that we're designing a building for.
To a certain extent, we've always bringing experience all the way from residential, our infrastructure projects, and then all the way to teaching and office buildings and mixing them up.
It's not really about how we've balanced the elevation or where we've positioned a window. We really think about the users of a building, the social content of a building programme right from the outset.
We have a passion for making civil architecture, infrastructure architecture, a joy to be in. And actually, what we found is that the engineers and the contractors actually enjoy that, because rather than it being just compliant architecture, it's joyful architecture. And so we tend to collaborate with a lot of artists.
Even perhaps people who are not working in the visual arts, but perhaps in performing arts as well. We see real value in that. It often takes us down avenues that we might not have gone down before, and I think that's exciting.
We have all sorts of ways of trying to bring all the people at Hawkins Brown together socially, but also to sort of discuss architecture and how we work. We organise study trips. I guess we'll bond over architecture, but also just socialising. It's a really good way every single year of getting away with everyone and getting to know people outside the office.
But because we went so late, we missed all the parties. We still found some parties.
We always try and focus on people in our design. I think the only way to do that is to have a working culture which focuses on people as well. So that sort of understanding about how people work at the office, I think we bring to projects.
If you look at our buildings, you can tell that they have all been designed for individuals. They reflect the practice in many ways in which we are quite informal. We don't have a very rigid way of working, and we discover how we're going to do things along the way.
I really like our kitchen tables, as we call them. We've got some great breakout spaces for us to go away from our desks and work together as a team.
I think our clients, they like the relaxed way in which we work and the relaxed way in which the buildings evolve and come out of that process. They're not stuffy and uptight.
We've got a very young cohort of bright, optimistic young people who are looking to us to help guide them on their career, but we're also looking for them to offer us a kind of pair of spectacles, if you like, onto the world ahead. The way in which we run our studio, the way in which we kind of encourage the participation of young graduates and postgraduates is enormously beneficial for our clients and for ourselves as an organisation.
What we offer as architects is not just a two-dimensional facadism, making buildings stick together. It's actually creating space that work for people. Going back to buildings, talking to the users, finding out how our architecture has transformed what they do is a real exciting part of our work.
I think I might have said something to somebody about you won't leave Hawkins Brown without having a good warm feeling. Sound familiar?
Norfolk and Norwich Hospital. That's good. Good live stuff. Well done, Carol.
This is a busy space, isn't it?
It is a busy space, yeah.
Who wants tea? Who wants coffee?